All right, how you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz. Welcome to Real Estate Geniuses. So in this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about the truth behind Boxabl and other companies that are saying, hey, we could build real fast. What is the truth behind those kind of companies that could build fast, but why land and not construction is really the bottleneck? So I'm going to go over that today in today's podcast and in today's video as well. So a little bit about myself, like who am I? Again, my name is Franklin Cruz. I'm a true investor and true developer, founder of trueinvestors.com. So I've actually been on the front page of the newspaper before on my projects in a good way. And I've also had the privilege to finish up a project that we sold to KB Homes that later on they named the entire street after my family. So it's called Cruz Court. So if you go to 7187 Cruz Court, you'll see what I'm talking about. So the facts are what I want to go over. Oh, and just recently too, on one of our projects, we won the City of Lakeland's Beautification Award. So really big deal. I'm super happy about the entire team and the effort they're putting in. So that's a little bit about me, but now I want to get into breaking down the misconception in real estate and why companies like Boxabl and the speed of construction is not the answer, okay? The biggest bottleneck in housing is not housing, actually. It's actually land. So it's not the construction of how to build something. It's actually the land that is underneath the building. So the real problem, or I would say the item that needs the biggest solution or the fastest one, has been something that I've been working on for years. And I'm talking 24/7, 7 days a week, I've been working on solving this issue. And I've got it down now, but I do see a lot of misconception out there dealing with construction, investors, developers, or probably just the public thinking of what is the issue dealing with housing. And it's not housing, it's the land. And what it is the real problem is approvals, zonings, and entitlements. And I'm going to go over deep dive today within this entire podcast related to it. So if you're looking to invest or develop, and I've got some notes here, that's why you see me looking down. If, in a sense of if you're listening to me, it's flowing. If you're watching me, I'm going to look down because I want to make sure I hit every single point related to what I've worked on the last couple of weeks dealing with this specific podcast. So if you're looking to invest, develop, or understand real estate at a higher level, again, this episode is going to be for you. So let's go right into the key points, okay? So first thing is Boxabl. Boxabl, if you go to Boxabl, Boxabl.com, Boxabl is a very overhyped and misunderstood company, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a doctor. I never stayed at a Holiday Inn. Like, it is what it is, right? But I want to bring up some misconceptions that I see. And here's the first thing. Number one, there's a marketing versus reality, right? In Boxabl, there is this big push for the future of home building. But the reality is that's not true. Like, we know how to build. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. Even in the Japan culture, they've been doing it for thousands of years, right? That's not the issue. Boxabl isn't classified. People don't understand. It's not classified as a traditional home. Or a lot of these companies that say we could build fast, like a manufactured home, we could build fast, but then what happens is they don't understand the regulations and financing behind even purchasing it and the resale value. One, it's not a home. So I just want to be really clear. If it's a manufactured home, even though the word says home, if it's built within a factory, that means it's going to get a different classification, just like an RV. An RV is built in a factory. So that RV right now is saying, okay, well, we've got an RV, and so within the RV, we have to build these different components. But it's not going to get inspected like a home. A home, you have over 30 different inspections. You have an entire process of first getting the approvals and entitlements for land, getting a site plan approved. Once you get the site plan approved, then you actually have to go with the city and make sure that your blueprints pass the city's code. Every single municipality within the entire country has a different building code than the other, okay? That's why it makes it very complicated. This is a hard problem to solve. But if you build it within a factory, it makes sense Like, oh, that's the way to scale, but it's not. So the real issue, again, it's not building a home fast. It's where can you place it legally, and is the status a home, or is the status going to be an RV or a manufactured home? Very different, okay? So the real bottleneck, again, in real estate, it's not homes. It's actually land and entitlements. Land approvals alone can take years, while home construction can take months. So just think about what I just said. Land entitlements take years. Construction can take months. That's not the issue. So it's the land, period. So most new investors think the hard part is the building part. Yes, that is a component of difficulty, just because you have a lot of subcontractors that you actually have to coordinate and make sure they're doing their job. So let's go over that really fast, just so if you're new and you have no idea about the building process, or if you do, you could add to this as well, but it's kind of like when you have a piece of land, right? First, you've got to look at that piece of land and say, okay, I have this piece of land. Now, what can I do next? So now I've got to make sure the approvals and entitlements, the zoning is there. There's no easements on the property, meaning I can actually build in the area I want. I've got to hire an architect. That architect needs to set up with a surveyor. That surveyor needs to do their job and make sure, hey, is there any areas within the land that I can't build? Is there wetlands? What's going on? So you could order what they call a topo boundary tree survey, right? This is before buying the land. So then you got to make sure, is the land buildable? Then is there any areas that has an easement, like a area that has let's say there's high power lines, like electrical easements or gas easements, or just an easement for driveways, right? Those are one aspect. Then you've got another aspect to it. Is it buildable? Is the soil buildable, or do I need to bring in fill dirt? These are all problems that you have to solve before even thinking about construction and a structure. Then you have to do, after you figured all that out, then you're going to have to do what they call a site plan. Once you have the site plan, now you've got the architect and yourself. You have what they call the setbacks, right? So you have a piece of land and you have setbacks of what you could build, right? On the front setbacks, rear setbacks, side setbacks. Then you have a structure that potentially you could build on it. This is residential or commercial. Then once you have that structure, now you can actually move forward and say, okay, now I know my setbacks. Now what do I want to build on it? Meaning now you got to do the blueprints of the actual structure. Once you do the blueprints of the actual structure, now you have to get that approved, not by your architect, even though your architect has to stamp it with an engineer stamp, a state approved engineer stamp. So you have to find an architect that does that. Now you have to go through the approval process of your actual municipality. So whatever that municipality is, you got to find a GC, because a GC is the only one that can turn this in, other than if you're going to do owner builder. Now they have to review your site plan. That site plan has to get approved first. Then your construction plans have to get approved second. Then every single component within that now you start the bidding process. The bidding process starts from foundation, who's doing the fill work, so that you have the compactual ratio to actually build a structure. That means basically where your foundation is. So foundation, now you've got how much is the materials for concrete, who's putting the foundation there. Then you've got who's actually, if it's a concrete block home or stick frame, right? So now you've got every single one of these subcontractors you have to actually sub out, and you have to get the material costs and labor costs of the entire structure, dealing with sheeting, drywall, framing, windows, doors, like roof, truss, coming all the way into electrical, it's called MEPs, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, right? So that's your rough end. Then you have your finals as well. So drywall, every single aspect of the home, you have to actually make sure that you have your local subs, and it goes through an inspection process going from impactual test to foundation test to the UFOR test to the underground plumbing to your from your framing inspection to your sheeting inspection, through your house wrap to make sure it was done properly, through your windows have to get inspected, through your roof truss have to get inspected, through your roof has to get inspected in 3 different phases, through then going inside the home, right? And then right before you start putting drywall, you got to make sure that rough-in is inspected, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So you're going through this process. That's why the real bottleneck is not building the home. It's actually the land, because the hardest part is you got to make sure that your land is approved. That's why companies like Boxabl and other companies that say, hey, we're going to streamline the process of building homes. I got it, but you're going to have a huge backlog just because everybody and their mother wants land, period. So again, the real issue is not how fast can you build a home. The issue is where can you legally place it, period. And it has to have the utilities for it. And a lot of these cities, like I'm in the city of Lakeland. Right now, in the whole entire northwest area Westgate area, which is only a mile away from downtown Lakeland, this entire area for the next 3 to 4 years, no building any major structures at all in this entire area. And you know why? Because they messed up, and we grew so fast that the utility lines have not been upgraded since the 50s. Okay? Since the 50s, I'm talking to you, it's 2025. So for over 70 plus years, the utility lines have not been upgraded because normal cities and building departments and planning departments and municipalities that are in charge of our cities and our counties, they typically have the way that they do things is we fix it when we have to. We're not proactive, we're reactive. So that's a huge issue, because then what they do is, because a lot of cities, they go off of, we don't know how to create money, we're just going to keep on adding more taxes. So what happens is the impact fees raise, taxes raise, everything raises because they have to create income to actually be proactive and now reactive because we grew so fast, right? So now you have no development in this entire area for 3 to 4 years because of this, because land and utilities is an issue. It's not the building. So the real bottleneck, again, in real estate is land and entitlements. The other aspect of it is there's your land approvals. Your land approvals, again, take years. Home construction takes a couple months, right? It could take, best case scenario, 60 days to 90 days. And then it's done right. It's not speed through, like it's actually done right. And everything's tied in, because no matter what, even if you have a Boxabl or whatever, so you still have to have a site plan done and approved. That takes a lot of time, okay? Then you have to make sure utilities are there, electrical and wastewater and water, right? Which is basically just, I have electricity, I have water, and my poop goes somewhere, okay? That's called wastewater or gray water, right? So those are the 3 items that you got to make sure that you got, right? Then you have to, does it have a driveway or not? Or is the protocol for a sidewalk? So you still got to get a subcontractor for that. Then you got to have a foundation. But before the foundation, does the site actually need fill dirt? And it needs to meet a certain compactual ratio, typically 95% or higher compactual ratio, to make sure the dirt can actually compact down. So when the weight of that structure, it won't create a sinkhole or any, like it actually can hold, right? Those are items, no matter what. It doesn't matter the building that you've got. It's got to have that. Then you still have to do your rough-in plumbing, your electrical with the UFER, right? The UFER is basically like a clip that connects to the rebar, that connects to the electricity, to your outside electricity your panel, right? So these are items, no matter what, you're going to need. It doesn't matter how fast the damn build happens. What matters is, again, the land. So when you're dealing with this zoning, environmental reviews, utility access, impact fees as well, that's still there. Everything slows down housing. So it has nothing to do with developers. We want to build as much as we can, because at the end of the day, the more that we build, the better it is for everybody. But there is a slow process, and it's the land, not the build. The other aspect of, think about it like this. At McDonald's, there's a great movie called The Founder. And within The Founder, Ray Kroc says it best. Or no, Ray Kroc was going broke. And then his first CEO said it best. McDonald's, he said, you're not in the burger business. You're in the real estate business. It's you own the land where that burger is cooked. That is the actual power. That's the work. The work is the land and owning the land. And then now you own where you eat, right? So if you're building, you want to own the land. That's why manufactured homes, a lot of these communities, when they do land leases, that's a scam, right? Just because the biggest scam, in my opinion, is because what a lot of hedge funds are buying it because it is a secured asset. Like if you look at it as an asset class, it's not a bad asset class because basically you could raise you have people that are in the end of their life, 50 plus, not in the beginning of their life. And so what do they do at the end of their life, 50 plus? Okay, well, when they die, you get somebody else and you raise the land lease and you just keep raising it because people are dying. I know it's horrible to say, but that's literally what a 55 and over community is. They are there and that's the last property they're going to be in until they meet baby Jesus. Like that's it, right? So again, thinking about McDonald's, the biggest developers don't focus on speed because it's there. They focus on controlling the land. And then they have to do their pro forma to ensure that the cost makes sense, period. Because there's so many little pieces of cost that go into a property and development. A lot of times, like when you start digging into the cost, you don't even want to play in this game no more because there's a lot of little hidden costs. So real quick, and kind of a stopping point. So if you're serious about real estate investing and developing, or just gaining that mindset of a top investor and developer, and you want to be a true developer, do me a favor, go to trueinvestors.com right now. If you are selling your property or you want to get in that you want to be a professional true investor to developer, we've got something for you as well. So, and we'll see if you qualify for our consulting program and mentorship program. Again, go to trueinvestors.com, or if you're a property seller as well. All right, let's keep on going to our normal program here. So why most investors do not understand land development. So the biggest thing is cheap land is a trap. There's no such thing because land is cheap doesn't mean it's buildable. Okay. So it's almost like, whenever you have, if you like, for me, it's like, if it's too good to be true, that shit ain't true. It's like, no, it's not going to work. Right. So just think about it like that because there's other little traps that you don't even know about. Impact fees, utilities, easements, probably not even half of it's not even buildable. I met a guy that wanted to sell his property. And then when I did the research, I was like, dude, half of your land is not even buildable. So 20 acre, he had a 20 acre parcel. Only 4 out of the 20 was buildable. He cried because he didn't know that. I was like, dude, he didn't even do the research. And he didn't even know. And title companies don't do the research because it's a surveys company, not a title company. You don't even know what to ask. So what people forget, infrastructure costs, impact fees, and you can write this down, please. The infrastructure costs. What is the wastewater and water connection costs? What is the impact fees? What is the zoning restrictions? Is there any kind of easements? These are huge. I've spent over 5+ years streamlining my land approval process to scale faster. It took me 5 legit years, a little bit over 5 years, to really get it down because I wasn't even interested in land. Land came on me. I didn't go on the land, right? So it's like all these opportunities for land development have come to me. And then I can assess it through all of my experience from all my projects that I've worked on to see what is the best route when it comes down to dealing with the seller, solving their problem, looking at a land scenario. What is the buildable? What does it look like? What are some hidden costs that we're not thinking about? These are all items that come up. Look, the truth about it is long-term real estate wealth. The long-term is not just apartments, right? So the long-term is land. It's going to be homes and duplexes, right? That to me is going to be the future. The future is going to be you're going to have a renter that's going to go from renting to owning a duplex, house hacking it, live in one, rent out the other, then eventually buying a home and then leasing out both the full duplex so they can make cash flow, and then they could live in a home and they could keep buying other duplexes in the future. to me, that is the easiest play to build true real estate wealth and just wealth for yourself. Or whatever profession that you're at, just keep on leveling up your skill sets. But if you want to be in the real estate field, to me, that's going to be the future. If you're it's working for you and you want to learn about real estate, that's different. Keep adding up your skill set, keep getting better at what you're doing, and eventually you'll get there. So again, look at the long play. So real estate, again, play the long term. Real estate investors, you should focus on learning land and zoning and what's possible and how to take advantage in a good way of seeing what's possible on a site, taking a buy right piece of land and taking it from 1 lot to 4 lots, or 1 lot to 30 lots, or 1 lot to 100 lots. Like, figure things out. But you also got to figure out, do they have the utilities? What's a utility plan? What's the water land? Can I get a meeting with the building department of what my idea is and build out a conceptual plan? So hopefully you're getting something out of this. Look, my biggest thing is stop listening to the marketing hype. Boxabl and other companies like that, I do feel bad because I think they've tricked a lot of really huge, amazing companies or amazing hedge funds or amazing fund companies into investing in them when they don't realize like it's a land play, it's not a construction play. So learning how to truly do real estate does work, but you've got to learn it. So if you want to learn how to scale from doing houses to land to full out developments and investing, or if you're a property seller and you want to sell your property, please again, go to trueinvestors.com and we can see if we could help and level you up. So no excuses. My name is Franklin Cruz. Appreciate you. Let me know what you got out of it as well. If you could rate this, that'd be great. Bye.